Well, hello there everyone. It's Sunday and time for a new episode of Record Collecting with The Quill. The theme for today is night music. Well, what do I mean by that term? Well, as a kid I used to make mixtapes with all my favorite melody tracks that I used to listen to when going to bed and falling asleep. And as I grew older I found another outlet for these tapes when I got my driver's license. Whenever I made long trips during night, I found out that these tapes were fantastic to listen to, just sitting in your car, following the headlights and listening to these tracks and just drifting away within your head, and the hours would pass by really quick. So I always enjoyed this type of music, and I have a couple of Spotify playlists nowadays that I listen to quite a lot as well. So I thought I'd share some of my favorite songs from these lists and mixtapes I made over the years. But before we start, you know the drill. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and also that little notice bell as well, so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And also share with your friends if you think they enjoy these kind of things. Well, starting out, first pick is from this album, Neil Young, American Stars and Bars. There's a track called Will to Love that is fantastic. It sounds exactly like sitting around a fireplace at maybe 3 in the morning in the middle of the night. Maybe a little bit drunk after a long day. Just someone sitting around strumming a guitar and singing along and just looking right into the fire. And you can actually hear a fire in the background on this track. I think it was partially recorded at Neil's home. There's also really cool vibraphone on it as well, makes the track stand out for me. Excellent song by Neil Young and sort of forgotten classic, I guess. Will to Love from American Stars and Bars by Neil Young, first pick. Second one is a track called Wintertime from Steve Miller Band's Book of Dreams. This track sounds like standing somewhere in large plains in the middle of winter, and it's cold and it's freezing, and the track starts out with the wind blowing and then a really nice harmonica and a sitar that picks up for a rather interesting choice of instruments. But there's a really nice vocal melody from Steve and some great guitar playing as well. And I'm always been fond of Steve Miller, and especially whenever he plays like mellower stuff, he's really good at that. And this is a great album in general. It's a nice, actually a Japanese pressing I got of it a couple of years ago. Second pick, Wintertime by Steve Miller Band from Book of Dreams. Next one is a track from Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. And I think it's sort of a forgotten classic. Led Zeppelin made so much great stuff. The track I've chosen is Down by the Seaside. It's a song that's rarely mentioned, but it sounds a little bit like walking home by the seaside, like 4 in the morning, the sun is coming up and you've been out all night partying. Really cool vibe to it. Really nice tremolo guitar from Jim is driving the song. Nice drum beat from Bonzo and some cool harmony vocals from Robert Plant. And it's more or less plodding along, but then it changes tempo for the guitar solo, but then it switches back to the original part of the song. So really nice, forgotten classic, I guess, from Led Zeppelin, Down by the Seaside. And for those of you who's not familiar with vinyl, this is so cool. Must have costed a fortune. Next pick, I think we'll go for could take a CD. Talk, British band, and the album is called Spirit of Eden. And the track I've chosen is the first one, called The Rainbow. This is almost like a sound college. I read up a little bit about this album, and they basically recorded hours and hours and hours of jams, and they built the studio. They had like stroboscopes and made a really atmospheric studio session, and I think they did quite a lot of drugs as well, and just recorded hours of music on tape, just jamming along. And then they sort of edited an album out of it. Just picked the best parts, made made arrangements out of those jams. And The Rainbow is a 9-minute track, starts out really slow, and you have a really nice trumpet on it as well. I really enjoy this. This is an album I listen to quite a lot, actually. But as I said, it's more of a sound collage than real songs in a way. But anyway, really cool and very different way of making an album, I guess. Next one is Grateful Dead, and from the album Wake of the Flood, I've chosen a track called Stella Blue. And I've chosen it mainly because it sounds a lot like Pink Floyd, actually. Sounds a lot like early Pink Floyd in the way that both in music and in vocal melody as well, and the way the song is arranged sort of builds and builds with a lot of cool harmony vocals as well. And Grateful Dead is a band I have a lot of albums with them, and I listen to it from time to time, but I wouldn't say I'm a Deadhead in any way, but whenever I listen to it, I enjoy them quite a lot. And this is, as I said, a really cool Stella Blue, a really cool track. If you like Pink Floyd, you're gonna love this one. I'm pretty sure of that. So check it out if you haven't heard it. Next one I've chosen is this album is a guy called Jonathan Wilson, and the album is called Gentle Spirit. It came out in 2011, and I became aware of him when he opened for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers here in Europe, and I went to see them, and he was the opening act, and he was really great. I walked away from there, just went out and bought the album directly, and I'm holding it backwards. And the track I've chosen is called Desert Raven, and it sounds exactly like standing in the desert at sunset. And I know because I went to the Grand Canyon a couple of years ago and went there during sunset and saw a raven as well. And the only thing I had in my head was that track by Jonathan Wilson. It was a fitting analogy, I guess, to the whole experience. But this is a cool, really cool track. It has sort of an Allman Brothers vibe to the guitar melody, like a guitar harmony part, and he's almost whispering the vocals as well, which makes for a rather interesting listening experience. And I'm quite fond of his stuff. He's made a bunch of more albums. He's really productive. But this is the first one I got, and the one I enjoy the most, I guess, as well. So Jonathan Wilson, Gentle Spirit, the track is called Desert Raven. And the last one, the number one chill out track of all, is from Black Sabbath, Masters of Reality. Master of Reality, for heaven's sake. The track is called Solitude. I love whenever Black Sabbath makes this kind of melody tracks. You have like Planet Caravan and a couple of others as well. But Solitude is really nice. You have Tony Iommi actually playing flute and sort of a really spacey vibe to it. This is a cool pressing, actually. It's a Swedish pressing on a label called Planet Records. Kind of rare now these days, I've heard. It didn't came with any posters or anything like the original, but anyway, a cool version of it. So my last pick, Solitude by Black Sabbath from Master of Reality. I better shape up, I guess. So these were my picks, my night music picks. I hope you enjoy them and you find something interesting. As usual, I will put all these tracks in the Spotify playlist I have, and you'll find a link down below if you want to check any of these tracks out. And also make sure you follow us on social media. There's a lot of shows coming up now. Sweden is opening up on Thursday, so everything will be back to normal again. So I hope we can book a bunch of more shows as well, and touring coming up soon as well. So make sure you follow us on social media. It's the QUILL Sweden. The QUILL Sweden. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching and listening, and see you all again next week. Bye for now.